Hello, welcome to part 3 of looking at all the Tier 10 US cruisers in the game. And we just looked at Des Moines, and we're now moving on to the premiums, and we're starting with Salem. And to me personally, for my play style and how I enjoy playing the game, Salem is really just the fun of Des Moines cranked way the fuck up with a slight hit to your overall game impact. And I say your overall game impact, but the idea that Salem has less game impact than Des Moines is somewhat misleading. Now, if you play Salem the exact same way that you would play Des Moines, you take the same positions, you hold them for as long, you play as passive or aggressive, however you play Des Moines. If you just try to play the exact same way in Salem, yes, you will probably have less game impact. Um, I've never understood the mentality of playing Des Moines and Salem the same way. Full concealment, superintendent, yada yada yada, taking positions close to caps, early game. Because Salem just doesn't have the utility for that. What Salem does have is you have the superheal and DFAA, which makes you significantly tankier against eating shit, especially when you're solo. And something that kind of goes along with that is on Des Moines, you really want to take Superintendent because you've got all these great radars and hydros, and you have a standard heals. You want 4 heals, you want 4 radars, you want 4 hydros. Now, with Salem, because you are basically limited to only at most using 2 to 3 super heals a game anyway, outside of really bizarre situations where like you just get non-penned but fires get lit on you and use it to heal fire damage, I guess, there's really just almost zero value in a 4th super heal on Salem. There's also basically zero value in a 4th radar on the Salem because the radar is, let's face it, it's so bad that you're just not really using it all that often. So you don't have to take Superintendent. There's really almost no value in it. And that frees up some points to build into DPM, obviously. This kind of positioning where I'm just sitting open water and eating shit, I would just never do this in a Des Moines, right? Because you just don't have the durability because of the lack of super heal. Now, if you get Citadeled in the Salem, that does limit your overall healing capacity for sure. But even taking Citadels, even taking giant hits from battleships, the super heal is still like noticeably an improvement a lot of the time over Des Moines standard heal. And you may have noticed so far in this game, or may have noticed right away, that my detection basically matches my gun range. I'm running reload mod. I'm running rudder in slot 5. I'm taking heavy HE, and I'm taking no concealment on my captain. And I'm using the first heal right now. We've got a max efficiency heal available, and so I mean it's pretty obvious if you made that same play in Des Moines, botting the fuck out. And listen, this is why I'm playing Salem. I want to bot the fuck out, man. Like this is Des Moines gameplay. You take away the utility and you're free to just bot out and farm damage in an aggressive and impactful way because you can farm damage in the kite when you're being pushed and kind of get meaningless damage, but especially with this build on Salem, the damage farm that you're achieving on battleships and cruisers is in like the deterrence category, if that makes sense. Like this FDG just had no ability, even though it's just me and a Petra shooting at him. He has zero ability to weather that storm. He basically has to run away. And the kind of DPM, I mean, I'm with this build at medium and long range. It's basically an 18% improvement over Des Moines DPM, right? Because we're buffing our HE damage by 10%. I'm also taking heavy AP for extra AP damage. And then we're nerfing our concealment, so we always have top grade gunner available, and that is an 8% reload buff. So, and then the Salem super heal Um, Assuming everything's under control, right? Like, only this FDG really has shots at me. And you noticed earlier I was waiting to use the superheal, even though I probably could have used one earlier. Kind of like with the Conqueror. It's a little riskier, admittedly, because the hull is more fragile. But sort of the playstyle with Conqueror early game is you sort of allow yourself to be damaged. Um, you're not trying to take citadels or anything, but you're intentionally deciding to not heal damage that you easily could heal. Um, and basically the reason for that is you're trying to basically like abuse your adrenaline rush. Um, And the idea here is on half HP. Now this is currently my max HP because I did take a couple of torps in a citadel, but like earlier, but when most of this was healable, basically the idea is I could heal, but instead of having a 4.8 second reload, we're down to like a 4 second reload with top grade gunner active. Yeah, 4 second reload on half HP. So even if I had a good amount healable, like let's say even I had 20,000 healable HP, the safe thing to do would be to use a 80% efficiency super heal. They heal 26k, but heal 20 of it, say. But basically the idea is just abusing adrenaline rush. Now you can't really afford to do this when shit is going to hit in the fan and you're under a lot of pressure. But isolated fights, you definitely absolutely can do that. And yeah, I mean, basically, with 15.5 concealment and 15.8 gun range, just like 99% of the time I'm shooting my guns, I'm going to get that 8% reload buff. So now, um, you obviously don't have the greatest hull in Salem and Des Moines. And we're kind of making up for that a bit by taking the double rudder mod. Or, sorry, not double rudder, but, the steering gears mod on slot 5. I am taking prop mod, I believe, on slot 4. So I've got prop mod and steering gears mod. And it's kind of overall is somewhat like having a poor man's Des Moines ledge mod. You don't have the crazy acceleration, but you do have a really good rudder shift. And it does avoid eating a lot of shit, especially when you're more open water. You can really throw this ass around with that steering gears mod. And again, because we don't even want concealment, the whole point of this build is just whoring DPM. And that's not to say you walk out and eat shit and die no matter what, right? Like, this Ohio could easily one-shot me. So there's no real reason for me to let him do that. And I'm only getting my front guns on him, but yeah, there's no reason to be suicidal. There's a difference between aggressive gameplay and suicidal gameplay. Lighthouse Salem lends itself to aggressive gameplay. Letting people shoot at you at certain situations, never stop, always be shooting. You never really have any disengage, right? You're kind of locked into an aggressive play style. But that does not mean you have to walk out, on a Vermont at 8 kilometers and claim you're being aggressive. I mean, that's just being stupid. But we're at about 123k 9 minutes into this game, which is decent. Unfortunately, their team kind of all ran away, which is really limiting my damage output potential here. But I mean, these salvos coming every 4 seconds, and keep in mind, this is no Halsey buff. A Halsey buff is going to lower this reload by a further 20%, right? So when you're half HP in a Salem on this build, and you get Halsey, you have about a 3-second reload. A little bit more, maybe about a 3.2 second reload. And that's on half HP. It's just an absolutely fucking horrific amount of damage output. And even if battleships push into you and get good damage on you, like you very well might get 2-shot on this kind of HP. This Montana with a good bow shot, he could very easily 15k me. I would heal some back, 15k me, maybe get the kill. But it's like I said in the Des Moines video, you put out so much shit against the enemy BBs that try to push you. And then we're just kind of cranking that concept up to 11 with the Salem. Unfortunately, I had to play 2 more games today. So these are 2 back-to-back games. I had originally played 2 games in each of the 5 ships back-to-back, and Wargaming decided to stealth patch the client, and so now those replays are invalid. So kind of a short game, not a lot of base, but not a lot of damage. Shorter game. So we're just going to go straight into the game right after this, the second replay. And we'll talk a little bit more about the superheal and some of the complaints about it in the early stages. All right, we're straight into the second replay. These are back-to-back games like I did with the Worcester and the Des Moines. It's not an OP battleship where we're just trying to highlight how OP it can be. Where I'm trying to show like more of the cruiser experience in these 5. But anyway, back to the Salem superheal. So something that I see complained about a lot is this idea that Salem superheal is not that valuable compared to Des Moines' regular heal, because if you take citadels and torpedoes, all of a sudden your maximum healable damage HP goes way down. And that is something that I would say is technically true, but practically pointless. And what I mean by that is, let's envision a situation where you're nose in on an island in your Des Moines, and Ohio comes around the corner, okay? And he 30Ks you, 1 citadel, and then 15K of pen and overpen damage. 33% of that citadel hit is healable, so you're going to heal about 5,000 of that citadel hit, and then you're going to be able to heal half of the remaining 15K. So 12,500 roughly, 13,000 damage of that Ohio smash that took half your HP is healable. So you're going to pop your heal, and you're going to heal about 9,000 damage per heal in your Des Moines. And so you're going to be back up from 27,000 after the hit, 30K. So you go from, let's say, 24,000 to 33,000 HP. Okay, now you're done. You cannot heal. That heal takes 30 seconds, and you will not be able to heal for 80 more seconds. Now, that exact same hit in the Salem, 12,500, 13,000 is healable, okay, which isn't perfect. But what you're going to do is you're not going to heal right away. You are going to wait till that Ohio is about half reloaded, and you're then going to hit your super heal. And after just 5 or so seconds of that super heal being active, maybe 6-7 seconds, I think it's about 2K. Okay, so about 10 seconds, right? Halfway through your super heal, you're back to not 33K or so like the Des Moines, but you're going to be back to closer to 37K. And the heal will still be working as that Ohio smashes you again. So let's say horrible case situation, he 30Ks you again, and half of it's healable. This one Salem heal has just kept you alive, okay? It's kept you alive long enough that you might even live a third salvo, because you're going to get down to 24K, you're going to pop the heal halfway through his reload, you're going to get back to 37, get smashed back down to 7K, and then during that same heal, you're going to heal back to about 20,000 damage. That exact same situation in the Des Moines is going to leave you basically dead. You might barely survive the second salvo, and you're definitely dead to the third. So that Salem heal, yeah, I understand that with 3 26,000 HP heals, you probably aren't realistically healing 78,000 damage, which would be the max healing ability, right? I do understand that, but people are just kind of ignoring the one-shot survivability buff that Salem super heal gives, and like that is every bit as much of its value as it is long duration tanking. Obviously, its other value is fire damage. Something like any ship with good fire starting. It gets a double fire on your Des Moines, you kind of have to repair it, and you get another double fire, and you start getting HE spam, and you're kind of fucked. Life is not good. And the Salem super heal kind of lets you almost completely ignore fire damage. Almost completely. So, I understand what people are getting at but I think that they're not really thinking about situations that actually happen in the game. What they say is technically true, that you don't get max utility out of every Salem heal, which is usually true. But then they kind of go a step too far, and people will say, and therefore it's not that good compared to Des Moines Seal. It's not that much better. And that is just like patently false. Um, the Salem Super Heal lets you do things you just absolutely could never do in Des Moines safely. Um, like sit here on this HP pool, like abuse Adrenaline Rush. Because if I was in a Des Moines, I would have to start cycling my heals. Because if I got chunked here, I can't, one shot a 26k HP buff with one heal like Salem can. I can't sail around on Des Moines at 20,000 HP with 4 heals in pocket. You've got to cycle those heals off, and Salem not really so much. Um, at this range, at this angle, realistically, worst case scenario, this guy averages like 10k a pop on me. He's got kind of got no way of dealing with me. Now, if he had 457s, this fight against 30 overmatch would be obviously quite suffering. But I mean, even then, an Ohio, Vermont taking 20k chunks out of you at this range, they're still not that likely to citadel you unless they get you through the ass. So, I mean, Salem is just, there's really just not any universe that really exists where the Salem heal is not just straight up, like, infinitely superior to the Des Moines heal. And like I said during the last replay, because you get so much healing per heal, and because the radar is very mediocre, you don't need Superintendent. There's just no value to it, and that's why we're running this like silly goofy build. You can see there in the top right, 1.3 million potential, and I've permanently lost 13,000 HP. Now I could have done that exact same play in the Des Moines, and I would still be alive, but I would be on about 30,000 HP, and I would need to cycle another heal, right, which I would do now, and then it would be another minute and a half for another one. And those lag times in the Des Moines are just times you can't push. All right, I mean, if you want to think of it that way, like if I'm in a 20k HP Des Moines and I have a heal 80 seconds on cooldown, I'm probably not gonna run at a Conqueror because that guy could easily kill me. And those lag times are much rarer in the Salem because of how bursty the healing is. It's easier to find a safe time to heal, I guess is what I would say, because you don't have to cycle the heals so desperately like you do in the Des Moines. So you just push. As long as there's no crossfire, or like a good player with overmatch. So in this situation here, I want to farm the Conqueror, but I don't want to push right into him because I could get in a situation where I'm crossfired by Schlieffen and Louisiana and Colbert. So I'm trying to use this island not to hide from Conqueror, because I don't care if he shoots me, really. I'm confident he's not going to kill me. But I want to keep this between me, Louisiana, and the Schlieffen. And the Conch is just not remotely paying attention to me, so it's letting me use all my guns. Conqueror is, of course, basically covered everywhere in 32 plating, and Salem Des Moines AP just eats it alive. And, again, especially with this build, 4.2 second reload on 9 HE shells that are hitting for 3,100 damage because we're taking heavy HE. It's just a crazy amount of damage output. And now here is just a delightful. This is like wet dream moment in Salem and Des Moines. Is a battleship is pushing and you get to AP his flat broadside and he has no angles on you. And I can just bot out. I'm going broadside to this guy because I'm trying to race. I'm trying to keep speed with him and keep this island directly between us, because then not only can I keep using my guns, but I don't get shot at all. Whereas a mistake that sometimes people make is they would go nose in here, and that would be safer if they got spotted, right? So if there was something to spot me, that would be the safe option. But in this specific case, it just wouldn't be the play, because it would let him see me. Whereas by playing what seems to be dumber and going broadside, I'm actually less likely to get spotted. So Schlieffen's gone, and I just want to push the kid, and this Louisiana is going to stop in a nice position to let me farm him a bit while I push the kid. Um, and this was, as you might have noticed in these two games, was the lack of Des Moines' utility a downside? Like, I could hydro this kid if I had Des Moines hydro, but like I have the radar, and I mean you see the damage I'm putting into those Louisiana. It's just disgusting. It's absolutely fucking disgusting damage when you get to use Des Moines AP, Salem AP with this build. And there's the Halsey buff, and on 40,000, so 2/3 HP. Yeah, we're at a 3.4 second reload, and I think I go full retard here. I think I eat torps for no reason. Yeah. So I thought that I could maybe fit between those two, and instead of just taking one, I took 2 torps. So you see that citadel damage, but as you can see, 9,500 of it was healable, which is still a Des Moines heals, and then we've still got a heal off. So I mean, this is my point is like even in really bad situations where your max HP is 40 and then you get 30k'd by citadel damage, like you're still healing often more than Des Moines can. And the reload now is just like absolutely horrific. I mean, a 3.1 second reload on these guns is just like, it's unconscionable. It's just an obscene amount of DPM. And this is, to me, like the point of the Salem. Like I said, it a normal Des Moines position. If I was playing Des Moines on this game, on this map, I would kind of go here almost right away because this would give radar coverage on the most common DD entrance spots, right? Going here in Salem makes no sense because the more stationary I am, the more shit I'm gonna hit that's unhealable. And I don't have the utility to cover this cap anyway. So, to me, this boat is just, the point is always shooting. And then, opportunistically go for the radar. If a DD wants to walk in and let you radar him, by all means, go ahead. But the damage, man. I mean, this is 2 guns, 7k hits. I mean, it's crazy. It's just a crazy, crazy amount of damage output. Yeah, that's overall the theme. Don't buy Salem and then play it like Des Moines, the exact same way. Build it like Des Moines. It makes no sense to me. I don't know why you would do that. I think this is where a lot of people who don't like the Salem, I think this is what they're doing, is they're just playing it like a Des Moines, and then they get frustrated because the utility sucks. They can't hydro the torps that are coming. They can't radar the DD off the cap. And like, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's not good at that. A little bit better, much better game this time. I mean, it's just the damage. I mean, this Schlieffen just got fucking annihilated. Fucking annihilated. Yeah, it's the effective DPM king. I mean, I said Des Moines was, but this is just turning it up to 11, obviously. Yeah, I really like the Salem. I think it is more fun than Des Moines, personally, for how I play. More fun, less consistent battle impact. That Des Moines video, if you've seen it in the first replay, I said that Des Moines is the only ship that would have won that game, and that stand by that. Salem wouldn't have won that game, and that's just down to utility, right? There are games that Des Moines will win that Salem can never hope to win, and with this build, there's some like very fringe cases where the reverse is true. Like if I'm in a game and there's no enemy DDs or something, and it's literally just a slugfest, right? And utility is totally off the board. Then yeah, there are games where this build on Salem and the Salem superheal will let you win games Des Moines couldn't win. But I do think those games are more rare. Like you do tend to see, 1 to 4 subs and DDs a game. And Des Moines is inarguably better at deterring destroyers and particularly subs because of the hydro and the radar. But we can kind of go back to the port and go over the build and equipment in that. All right, we are back in the port. I'm just gonna like super quick say the armor's the same as Des Moines. Get the armor out of the way. You want to see Des Moines' armor? You can watch the other video. The ship is identical, same gun, same hull. And let's look at the equipment. And this is kind of where things start to get really, really different. I'm not taking radar duration mod. I'm taking engine room protection. It's not like the way I'm playing Salem. Let's be honest. Am I gonna benefit from 5 extra second radar duration on this shitty, great value 8.5 cam radar? Absolutely not. The engine room protection is fairly decent, especially if your repair is down. Aiming, prop mod, you could go double rudder, and I'm explicitly saying I'm running Lighthouse Salem. I don't think there's like any reason to not run Lighthouse Salem. It's so much more fun than full conceal standard cruiser build Salem. It works for what the Salem is good at, which is just holding left mouse and shitting on people. So I don't even want to hear that we're running concealment. It's just not going to happen. Okay, I'm not doing it. So the option to me is double rudder. But I do think there's times where you sit on rocks, and propulsion is definitely the play. Steering gears, reload, obviously. Something that is kind of funny is taking ship consumables in this slot, because it does make each heal 28.6k, I believe. It's 10% more. It's kind of funny in fringe cases where like most of the damage being put on you is fire damage, but overall steering gears is like way better. Reload mod. I am taking radar, and I've heard a lot of people say that they like hydro better on Salem. Here, my issue with hydro on the Salem is the only time I really feel like I'd rather have it than the radar is my flank has evaporated, I'm farming in the kite, and there's a DD up my ass. And it's a long torpedo range destroyer. So like his torps, like a Holland maybe, Yu Yang, something like that, where the torps can catch me from outside radar range. But pushing in, like I do 9 out of 10 times. There's enough times where DDs will smoke up, 6 to 8 kilometers from you, and the radar kills them. Kind of a preference thing. I would just argue that like if you eat a lot of torps in Des Moines, then then take hydro. And if when you play Des Moines, or Salem, or any open water cruiser, if you don't tend to hit a lot of torps, like that game I hit torps, but hydro wouldn't have mattered, right? I mean, I just was a fucking retard, and I ate 2 while trying to dodge 2, and I should have just like those torps were undodgeable. I should have just eaten 1. Hydro wouldn't have helped me there because Hydro wouldn't have magically given me more fucking IQ points than my dumbass has, right? So I just I think in those 2 games, just like objectively, Hydro. I mean, I didn't really need either, but Hydro was not necessary. I like the radar. It's preference. Hydro's definitely nicer when a sub fucks you, undeniably. So if you're frustrated by subs, then run the Hydro. And then the captain build, we're going like a full lighthouse. The lighthouse mandatory build would be these skills right here. Grease the gears, shell feeder, heavy HE, adrenaline rush, and top grade gunner. Now, this is kind of where there's actually quite a few points that are available here. And now the heavy AP is just like, I'll admit, it's a little troll. 5% extra damage. But you know what? It just makes me feel good. It just makes me feel good. Survivability, do you need it on Salem? Not really. Last stand I would take, however. And so because I'm running these skills, it left me 2 points, which I put into focus fire. And I do like this skill because Salem has good AA with DFAA, so it actually does something. And then it does give you your cyber strikes better. So I think you could make like a really solid case that you would, if you're interested in Lighthouse Salem, which again I'm gonna recommend. I just don't. I I hate playing this ship like Des Moines. Like it just makes me sad playing Salem the same way I would Des Moines. I don't get it. I don't know why people do it. It's frustrating. Um, and saying fuck it and going full DPM is a lot more fun. But anyway, the 4-point AA skill is would be probably what I would latch onto. Um, which you could give up survivability expert and heavy AP, and then you could take the 4-point AA skill. And I said this in Des Moines prior to fuck this skill. I don't see any value to it personally. Grab Fire Chance to be hilarious, just for no fucking reason. Or you can grab Incoming Fire Alert and Consumables Specialist, which will give you the DFAA back faster. But yeah, this is just the full greed build. The damage output is moronic. It's absolutely absurd. Um, and it's an oppressive amount of damage that it's enough damage output that you can cope through overmatch. When Vermont smashes me for 30k in my Salem, I can actually cope my way out of it, like I said in the Des Moines video, because I do so much damage in return. Um, yeah, I think Salem is like a super good side grade to Des Moines. Uh, Assuming you play it like a side grade, right? I just don't. I know that I'm rambling, but I truly don't know why you would play full conceal Salem. I actually don't know why you would do that. I really don't. Makes no sense to me. It's just no utility Des Moines with a superheal at that point. Um, so this is how I play it. This is how I recommend people try to play it. Um, and if you really don't like playing Lighthouse at all, it's something you're totally uninterested in, then um, my recommendation for the Salem would kind of go down. Like if this is something you're into, if this is a playstyle you're into, then Salem is near the top of the pack in fun. More fun than Des Moines. Okay. When I build Salem just like Des Moines and try to play it like a Des Moines, I think the fun goes down. I think Des Moines is more fun because I get frustrated playing close-in utility style with Salem when I don't have the radar and the hydro, right? So to me, power level, I think Des Moines is still the king. I think it's still number one. I personally put Salem above Worcester because while it does have less anti-ship utility with the worst radar, it's so much more resilient and it's so much more damage outputting than Worcester in most situations. Um, I would probably rank Salem number two of these five. I would put Des Moines on top for strength, Salem just underneath it. Um, and then I would put Salem near the top for fun, like maybe a little bit below Austin. I think it's super, super fun to play like this. I just love it. I just love shitting out obscene amounts of damage, and I don't care if I get shot, man. Who gives a fuck? 20k overmatch me, and I'll put 50k back into you with 8B and HE. But anyway, that is going to do it for the Salem, and I will see you in the next one for Puerto Rico. Thank you for watching.